My name is Jorge Lizárraga, and I'm going to be teaching you or showing you how to use the future with will and going to. Common mistakes are that we use going to with will, or we use will instead of going to. The thing is here that we need to know when do we use going to and when do we know how to use will, and we have to be able to distinguish both of them, because one is used for some context and the other one is used for another context. In real life, we use it like whatever, but in a specific context, we need to use them specifically. Example, I'm going to be writing here the context. So we're going to be using future. That's what I'm going to be explaining. Future, we have be going to, and we have will. We use both of them in future, but different contexts. Example, will, we use them for immediate decisions. We use them for immediate decisions, meaning that at the moment, when we make decisions at the moment, if we have a plan, we don't use it right here anymore. We use it here with we going. When we have previous arrangements, meaning that we have a plan. So we use be going to with plans. Arrangements, something that you have already planned. Okay? So immediate decisions. The second context that we use will is for, they mention scientific predictions, but it can be any type of predictions. Example, the Lakers are going to win the next championship. Prediction. It can be just predictions. Scientific predictions. The other here for be going to, we use it for when we can see what is going to happen, meaning that it is not a prediction. The best example for this is when you see the dark clouds, and the weather is coming, and you're always gonna say, it is going to rain, because you see the clouds, the dark clouds, and you can even smell the rain. Or the other example is when you're at the restaurant and the dish is coming and you can smell the food and you say it's going to be delicious. So that's when you can see what is going to happen. So we use the future in 4 different contexts. The common mistake here is that we don't know when to use will and we don't know when to use going to. Be going to. So these are 4 different contexts. The other mistake that we do here with will is that we mix the going to with will because of the auxiliaries. Some auxiliaries we use auxiliaries for will, different auxiliaries for going to, and some auxiliaries has to be specific. Example, will. The auxiliary for will is this, will. When we don't use will for future, we're saying I drink water. When we don't use the auxiliary, it is not future. It is simple present. So we need to have the auxiliary at all times. And in Spanish, we don't use auxiliary. So that was a common mistake. And sometimes we forget how to use the auxiliary with will, and we tend to use it as simple present. And here we need to add will after the pronoun and before the verb to specify the future tense. If we don't put it, it will be simple present, and we have to put it in affirmative, negative, and questions in order for us to have the future immediate decisions or scientific predictions. Okay? Now, we have the auxiliary. This auxiliary, we put in for all the pronouns. So we use them for let me put it, for I, he, she, it, we, you, and they. We use them for all the pronouns. Depending on the pronoun, we're always going to use will. The form of the verb. The form of the verb that we use. Form of verb that we use. We're always going to use the base form of the verb. Or we're going to use the root form. It is the same thing, but with different names. Meaning, with the base form of root form, it will be the verb as you write them originally. So this is the form of the verb that we're going to be using for future with will. Rules. Here, we don't have rules. We don't follow rules to make the tense. No rules. There's no rules here to make changes on the verbs or the will. So we don't have any rules. Example. He will take a shower. He will take a shower. Immediate decision, like something like that. I'm going to take a shower right now. I will take a shower. He will take a shower. Right there. That's the immediate decision that he's going to be doing. Then, if I want to put it in negative, the negative form will be like this. The will not. Or if you want to contract it, abbreviate, it will be the won't. He will not take a shower. These two are the same thing. One is abbreviated and the other one is how we write it normally. Then if I want to make questions, I'll move the auxiliary where the pronoun is and the pronoun where the auxiliary was. Example, will he take a shower? So we use the auxiliary first, then the pronoun, verb, and the noun. If we start with an auxiliary, the answer will be yes and no answer because we're starting with an auxiliary. With this, since we're talking in future, the answer will be yes, he, and then we put the auxiliary. Yes, he will, and no, he won't. That will be my simple answer because we're starting with an auxiliary. If I want to know more information about he taking a shower, I can put here at the beginning any WH word. Example, when will he take a shower? With this when WH word, we can have or we make WH questions. We get more information. Here, I'm trying to find out the time because of the when. We can put here as well the where, the why, okay, in front of the will. So that's the structure that we follow to make WH questions or information questions, okay? Going to is almost the same as this. The only difference with the plan or with what we can see is that will and going to use different auxiliaries. The auxiliary for will, it is going to be the be. It is going to be the verb to be. Example will be the verb to be is the auxiliary. The auxiliary, the verb to be, changes into three forms. And the are. This is the auxiliary for the going to. Putting the auxiliary for the going to. Right there. Am is for I. He is for he, she, and the it. And the are is for we, you, they. So, this auxiliary has changes into three different forms because we're still following the rules of the verb to be in simple present. So this auxiliary must follow these criteria. So let me explain more. So with this, the form of the verb, with going to, we have the form of the verb. The form of the verb. The form of the verb is the base form. We use base form or the root form. It doesn't change as the will. But here, the rules, there's no rules, but I always put that this is the rule here. This is the rule for going to. Why? We tend to make mistakes and we don't put the verb to be in its form, the correct form with the type of pronoun that we're using. So it is a common mistake that we put he, am, I, are. So we tend to change the verb to be depending on the pronoun. So we don't know sometimes when to use it. So the rules that I always put here is that we follow the rules of the verb to be in simple present. So we follow this rule that the am is for the pronoun I, the is for the pronoun he, she, it, are is for the pronouns we, you, they. This is the rule that we follow. We don't follow any other rule that we use in simple present, the verb to be. That's what we follow only. Then, example. Example. The example here will be, let's use the same context. He is going to take a shower. That's my context. I have already planned that later on I will take a shower. So I have my verb to be, that's my auxiliary. I have the future form of going to, the verb in base form, and I have the noun. If I want to put it in negative, the verb to be is right there, and so we put the verb to be in negative. That isn't going to take a shower. If I want a question, I move the verb to be where the pronoun is and the pronoun where the auxiliary was. Is he going to take a shower? Question. Since I start with the auxiliary, my answer will be a yes. He is going to be specifying that we're using the going to. If I want to put no, he isn't going to. I can write it like that, or I can write the whole thing. Yes, he is going to take a shower. No, he isn't going to take a shower. This is planned already, so I am planning to take a shower later on. The will, we follow the same thing, but this is an immediate decision, something immediately that we're going to be doing it right now. Something happened, and I just already thought that I need to go take a shower. Something immediately. If I wanted to ask for more questions here with the going to, I am going to put The same thing, WH words, when. Or I can put the where. So the differences between going to and will and going to is that we tend to use 4 different contexts. Plans, and when we can see what is going to happen in the future, of course. The will, immediate decision. I made a mistake. Immediate. My mistake. Just barely notice it. Immediate decision, meaning that it is at the moment of speaking. When we're trying to explain something at the moment of speaking. Scientific prediction. Anything scientific, tomorrow will be a bright and sunny day. It could be. That's my prediction. Or that's the weather, scientific. Games. The Lakers are going to will win the championship. My predictions. Okay? And this is the 2 different types of future that we use in a specific form. Okay? So, I explained the differences between will and going to in future. And in conclusion, we must follow will and the going to. Where is it? Oh, here. The going to. In their specific context. Plans, and we can see what is going to happen, immediate decision, or scientific predictions. So we must be careful. Why? Because we tend to make mistakes by not putting the correct auxiliaries for them. Okay? Thank you. That will be all for me.